Right, muckers. So, how do you go about stripping down an army truck that's nearly 80 years old? Well, we're about to show you. And towards the end of the video, I'm going to ask you a question. Actually, it's more of a fairly major decision. So make sure you watch the video right the way through so you've got all the information when you give your answer. This is going to cost me a fortune. Roll the titles. Right, muckers, so we are back here with Matt, obviously looking at Matador stuff. You'll remember this one, the engine we got running, which is literally about to be loaded up and out the door back to its original owner. And this will be put into an ongoing restoration. Now, I mentioned the last one that, you know, there's a reason that people are having all this done. Now, sometimes it's because they've bought one, they've always wanted one, and they want to restore one. Sometimes it's because the vehicle itself means a lot to the person that owns it. And I'm now going to show you one which is very special to the person that owns it, and we'll explain why. Right, so this is where this particular story begins. Now, this Matador was built in 44. It was released out of the army and sold for disposal in
68.
It then went to a recovery, as a recovery truck with a haulage company. It was then bought by Tommy Worthington over in Wales. And that's where she stayed. And Tommy and his son Di, they worked this particular Matador for years, didn't they? Tommy, you know, passed away and the truck ended up with Di, didn't it? So anyway, buggers, what we're going to do, we're going to show you what goes into actually restoring a Matador, getting it back up and running, getting it, you know, as you say, preserved so future generations can also see. They are just fantastic old bits of kit. Do you want to explain why we have a flat 8 and the Matador?
Well, we're going to lift the cab off today. And it's,
with the flat 8?
It's not a flat 8. That is a Matador cab lifting frame, which you can also use to lift up bales.
Oh, what a treat. Right, so we just stop just to make sure everything's all right. And so obviously this is what we're saying. So when we went up first, you're saying they catch on the back here, don't they, Matt? So you have to come back a little bit to clear all this. But then you can't just go straight up, because Matt was saying you got all the, obviously you got the pedals in there, which they're here now, and these two levers here. You see, we on the side. So you got your, you know, for your winch and your handbrake and all that. They come out at an angle, don't they, Matt?
Yeah.
So they catch. So Matt has to pull, as it's going up, he has to pull it over this way more and more. But now, if you look, you got the seat is touching that steering wheel. So Matt, we know what you can do with that.
Steering wheel off.
Steering wheel off. Right, so what we've got to do is carefully manoeuvre this position where we can set it down on a pallet. But as you know, both these John Deere telehandlers, the brakes are either on or off. So there we are, sports fans. Matador cab removal. Oh, not too bad, mate.
That's one of my better ones. Careful when you take the engines out, because as the sump comes up, if you lift it square, it just catches on the throttle tube.
Yep.
And if you find that you've got a really tight throttle in your Matador, sometimes it's quite often because that
It's slightly
tube
bent.
where they rip the engine out.
Okay.
So everything's been undone. We've undone the throttle mechanism. We've taken the clutch mechanism out.
Right.
The gear selector's all gone because
That
that runs through
yep.
the rear cross member.
Yeah.
Everything's unbolted this side. Speedo cable's been removed. We've undone all the fuel pipes on that side.
Right.
Exhaust isn't going to be in our way.
No.
Rad's off. Dynamo's been unwired. So she's just ready to lift out now.
Very good.
What we're going to do is we've got a special lifting frame
Yep.
that fits on the rocker covers. We can lift it up with that.
Okay. And that's strong enough.
Yeah, it's actually the one out the manual.
Yeah, so I say, because most people wouldn't believe that, but it is true, isn't it? It is the proper thing. But to be fair, that the actual things that you know, they're not just like little old plastic nuts like you'd find now on a Corsa or something. They actually go straight into the head, don't they?
Yep.
All the safety. It's actually alright. It's a good lifting frame, so it's the correct manual type one, so we're tightened against the carriage, so
Get it on the ground.
So there we go, one flat pack Matador. IKEA got nothing on us. So yeah, you see how it's done. Your chassis, your sort of rolling chassis now, axles and the actual chassis itself, winch, transmission, engine, cab, all ready to be overhauled. This is going to be sent away and blasted and primed and painted, the chassis and everything, and that axle will be done. Go through anything, seals and everything that needs doing on this. So this will come back as an overhauled rolling chassis. Well, you know what goes into the engine rebuild, you've seen that, but we'll show you a little bit more as we do this one. Cab's something we'll look at because there's a fair bit involved with that, isn't there, Matt? Transmission, you go through that, overhaul that, make sure everything's all right, and yeah, there we go. And then once that's all the bits are done, start putting them back together. So there we are. Now, someone asked me in one of the previous videos when we were doing the Matadors, what's about the big blue one? So, about the big blue one. This is quite a late one, isn't it?
So they made about 11,000 Matadors.
Yeah, from
1939
yep.
to 1945.
Right.
Had a little break, and then they started building them again in 51, and they ran up to about
brand new ones.
Brand new.
Okay.
Yeah, so the replacement for the Matador wasn't ready.
Yeah.
After the end of the Second World War, the RAF needed some more trucks. They put an order in for some more Matadors.
That's what they did.
Yeah, so then they built another batch from about 52, 53, right down to 1954. So this one, out of the 11,000 built,
yeah,
it's probably one of the last 200 Matadors built.
So, right, so there's 11,000 built roughly.
Yeah.
And this is within the last 200.
Yeah.
So it's quite a very late one.
In fact, it was built in 54, wasn't even finished, and was left unfinished. This is a chassis cab.
Right.
Till about 1960.
Right.
Then it was sent to Marshall's in Cambridge, who are still trading
yeah,
it.
they are, yeah.
And they finished it.
Now, obviously, with the cab, everyone recognises the Matador cab, but we have looked at the earlier cab, which is the one we went out in previously. We took out with the Wayman cab.
So that's an early one.
Yeah.
So that's built in 39, and that's actually chassis 140. So that's the 140th Matador built. So you've got kind of the 11,000th Matador here.
And the earliest one you've got.
So that's number 140.
Yeah.
But it isn't the earliest Matador I've got. I've actually got one of the very first Matadors built. So do you remember the one that we tried to start in the snow the other week?
The white one?
The white one, yeah, over the road?
Yeah.
That's chassis 37.
Oh no, at the Wayman cab.
Yeah.
So that's an early. So that's really.
That's why I bought it.
Right.
And I think it's the earliest complete Matador to survive.
Without being cut about or
Or derelict.
Oh right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is, as you say, a very early Matador. So you're going to restore that one, 37 or?
I'd like to, but the trouble is I've got so many jobs on the go at the moment. I just haven't got the time to do it.
Like this and whatever else.
Yeah.
Plus the one with the body and that. And that's the other one. The one we've just looked at, Di Worthington's one as well. It's got to be done, I suppose. But
and I keep going to see, helping customers on site as well now, 1 or 2 days a week. So I just haven't got the time to do it.
But that's 37, number 37.
But I saved it for getting scrapped, so that was important.
No, I know that, but I ain't being funny. If there was a Matador I was going to get stuck into, that would be that one. It's a nice truck.
It is, yeah.
I like the because that was, as I said, the history of that. All right, a military vehicle, but after the war, like so many of these others, they had their main life, which was in timber, breakdown recovery and stuff like that. That was used as a mobile plant, wasn't it, with a big compressor for breaker guns and all that sort of stuff. I love that. I genuinely, I think if there's one that should be saved, that should be that one.
Yeah, the good thing about that one, because it had that compressor engine on the back, it's been spewing oil and hydraulic fluid out for the last 40 years.
And preserved everything. Yeah.
But and the other good thing about it is it's pretty mechanically good. It had a lot of mechanical work done to it in the 80s, and then it was never used after that. It's just the cab.
So you've got to do it then?
Look at the state of the cab though.
No, but they're all got bad cabs. That's the point of redoing cabs. You've got to.
It's the time, isn't it? I could just sell it on to someone that's going to restore it and do a good job with it.
I don't know. I genuinely, honestly, I love all these Matadors. You know that. I just think if there's one that would really like to get stuck into, would be 37. And I would. I'd love to have a go and get stuck into 37.
You just want to say that you've got the earliest Matador.
Oh, yeah, there is that. No, I like it. I do like the history of it being mobile plant. I really do like that. It's a different thing. It's a nice truck though. You can't just pass it. You can't sell it. You've got to do it. If you wanted to do 37, I could find you shop space.
Yeah, but would you actually help me do it?
37?
Yeah.
In a bloody heartbeat. Yeah. But I ain't being funny. I mean, we've cracked through now. We've done an engine. We've broke one down, ready to be done. You've got another one on the go here, plus all the others that are out and about you're doing out to. I still think you can do it. I really do. I understand it though. Yes, that actually would make a good question. Let them choose. Yeah. I would do.
Do they want to come and help do it?
No, I do. Right, I'll tell you what, no, I am going to put you on the spot here. Muckers. Right, so, we'll see.
Yeah, go on. They're going to come and help do all these ones, aren't they, as well?
Yeah, I think we can manage it. Genuinely though, Muckers, I think that number 37 is worth preserving, which you've stopped at being cut up.
Yeah.
Agreed. I know it's a lot of work and a lot of effort on your own, but I think the rate two people can go, and as I said, I can provide you shop space and stuff if we have to for bits while they're waiting. You haven't got to have them jamming it up. Muckers, this week's question, right? There we go. Put him on the spot. Number 37, that white Matador. Should him and I restore it? You can't go with this now, can you?
Are we going to whip round at the end?
Should we restore it and we'll film it, or the sensible route probably, should Matt just put it out for sale and let somebody else do it? So that's the question. Put your answers in the old squid pit below, Muckers, right? This week's question, and I am going to make you stand by whatever decision they just put restore or sell, Muckers. Put your comment, right, in the old squid pit below, and we'll see what comes up. I genuinely think people would like to see that done, because it is such a special truck. And I honestly, I'll be happy to do it and fund it with you and whatever, we'll do it. So there we are, Muckers. That's this week's question. Matador number 37. Should we restore it and I'll film it? Me and Matt can work on it. Or should he just let him sell it and make some room for another one? Up to you. So it's nice you got people like Di that wants to get his father's Matador restored, the one that he also used himself, and then for future generations. But do you think though, you know, in years to come, the younger generation are going to have any interest in stuff like Matadors and all that?
I really hope they do. There's quite a few youngsters at the moment that are getting into Matadors and buying them and restoring them and using them, but I hope it continues.
But yeah, but is it? Do you think they actually got young kids have got an interest in older stuff like that? So, there we go, Muckers. So put your answers in the old squid pit below, in the old comment section. And we will go with whatever you decide. Now, all last year, people have been asking me if I will do another series of pickup truck reviews, like I did in 2017. Well, obviously last year, with everything going on, it just wasn't possible. But here we are, 2021. And yeah, I'm going to revisit all the current brands of pickup that are available in the UK, all the major ones anyway, that are out there on offer. And I've already started doing it. And we're going to start that series in the next few weeks. So just going to do everyday sort of reviews. So, you know, we're not going to do all the extreme stuff, fully freighted up and, you know, up to their axles in mud. Because most of the time, trucks aren't used like that. And those guys that do use them like that, they know what they need and they know what they want. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to kick off with the 2021 Isuzu D-Max. And they've completely revamped the whole thing. And yeah, seriously, keep your eyes out for that. As ever, you can keep up with what I'm doing on Instagram. And that's Mucker4890. And I'm putting little photos and videos on there throughout the week. Now I'm doing more and more on Instagram because, you know, people seem to like that. So as I said, go on to Mucker4890 on Instagram and keep up with what we're doing in between what we do on these videos. What? Is it that time again? Well, until the next one then, Muckers. Do well.